Good morning. Nobody on the stream yet, but as people start filtering in, we will get started. So, if you are here, I'm not seeing you. So if you're here, say hi. Looks like some people are filtering in. If you are here, let me know in the comments if you can hear me. So we're using some new gear this morning. Hey Jason, can you hear me loud and clear? Let me know. Hey Chris, Jordan, Jaco. Good morning, everybody. I don't know if that's Jaco or Jocko. Lewis, everything sounds good. Perfect. You'll probably notice that this is a little different. So this is one of the more probably upscale live streams, even though nothing was really planned. I've got all of my equipment plugged in and kind of wanted to talk about that. This morning, you'll notice this mic arm here and this really nice mic, which is going to Rodecaster Pro that you can't see, that's off screen here, but trying to bump the production quality of the videos up a little bit. You've probably noticed that the audio has been pretty good in the last few videos. Working with a few different pieces of hardware on the video side. So, and right now, usually when I live stream, the camera is right on top. My laptop is right here. And usually the camera is right on top of that, but I actually have the camera mounted on a tripod back there. So I'm still kind of getting used to this, but let's, what I'm going to do is in the comments, I'm going to put my office number and the extension. And I actually have a phone running GrandStream Wave, which is GrandStream's soft phone for mobile devices. I have it running on this device and it is paired with my Rodecaster Pro, and I want to take some live calls this morning. So I'm going to put this in the comments real quick. And if this part doesn't work, this is why we are doing this. We are ironing the bugs out. And so I am putting it in the comments right now. So let's take some live calls. We'll talk about things. I was in some Facebook discussions this morning about coffee. We were also talking about IT careers and things like that. Nathan wants to know, what is the story about the shirt? So you do see me wear this shirt quite often. So we are actually working on a barbecue channel. My wife actually has started, she's been filming for the last, on Monday, it'll be 14 weeks. My wife has been building a catalog of videos, and I'm actually going to teach her how to edit videos, and she'll be 100 times better at it than I am, but she is starting a homesteading channel. She's going to start out with the chickens. So we do have a flock of chickens that we started. If you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you saw those pictures. We have chickens, and there'll be 14 weeks on Monday. So in 2 weeks, depending on the weather and things like that, we should have farm fresh eggs just in time for Thanksgiving, which I'm super excited about. And part of the reason that we bought the chickens is we are going to donate, dozens of eggs to the local food pantry. That's something that is near and dear to us. So that is one goal. And then when we get the next round of chickens, we will raise meat chickens to also donate to the food pantry. So back to this. So anyway, I've got a bunch of archived footage that I'm working on starting this barbecue channel. So my pellet smoker, because I'm not a stick smoker guy, I do technology. So RecTech is the brand of pellet smoker that I have. And when you buy a RecTech, they send you a t-shirt. So that's where this t-shirt came from. It came in the box with the RecTech. So good morning, everybody. All right, so I put the phone number 309-446-0048, extension 5002. That will get you on the air with me right now. If somebody wants to call in, we can also talk. I've had a lot of, I posted not this last video about NordVPN getting hacked, which, VPNs, I VPN in here to my home using a Synology because I just want to encrypt that. And I don't want, the possibility of people on the same public Wi-Fi hotspot that I am, being able to get that. That's why I encrypt everything. But when you do select a VPN provider, it's really about trust. And who do you trust? It's just like if you're a Tor exit node, right? Whoever's watching it is watching all of that traffic go out of you as the exit node. So that VPN, if somebody wants to watch that, capture that traffic, it's all about opportunity cost too, right? So if somebody really wants to know what you're doing on your internet connection, they're going to find out. But do they really want to spend the money to find out what Willie Howe's doing at 8:23 on a Saturday morning behind his VPN? Probably not. His life is not that exciting. There's no paparazzi waiting, anything like that. So just a dude that puts my pants on like everybody else. Um, yeah, the GrandStream Wave app is absolutely awesome. So, I want to let you know this too. I am now a GrandStream certified professional, and I'm one of the few GrandStream certified experts in North America. I am also a GrandStream certified trainer. So we are going to be having official GrandStream training classes at the professional level. So you'll see videos about that very soon. I'm very excited about um, my partnership with GrandStream. So I spent a lot of time working on GrandStream systems. They're getting more and more popular. Let me show you this. I started working on a video for this the other night. And there's actually a box for a switch sitting on this. All right. So this is one of the new enterprise grade GrandStream phones. What I like about this is it's got this little LCD screen down here for the lamp field indicator. And man, this phone is awesome. And all of these new GrandStream phones, you can actually get replaceable bezels here, so you can get your logo printed on the bezels and put it in there. I mean, other things that GrandStream are doing, they are unifying their firmware. So all the phones, you're going to download one copy of firmware, so it'll make bug fixes and making sure that the quality is there across the phones very quickly. So I'm really excited about some of the stuff that GrandStream is doing. Hey, Quick Tech Solutions is here with us. Hey, man, thanks for that referral. I'm working with that client on that Synology problem. I think I'm going to work with that client on the Synology problem. My rates didn't exactly agree with him, so we're negotiating that. And I do understand, there's a conversion going from U.S. dollars to Canadian dollars and things like that. New customers don't always like that they have to buy 2 hours up front. I do have now a 1 hour package, for network inspection, and so we can sometimes work it in that way. But all right, does anybody want to call in, or has anybody tried to call in? Put it down in your comments if you're calling in. Once again, that number is 309-446-0048, extension 5002. I'm surprised Jordan hasn't called yet. But we'll talk about, we'll call in, talk, IT right now across the United States. You can go out and you can read these articles. There's about 900,000 jobs that need to be filled. We've got problems from the employer side and the employee side. First of all, people don't want to work for peanuts, and I don't blame them. If you have skills, you should be compensated for those skills. On the other hand, this means that mediocre employees, or employees that are average, they are also in a negotiating spot at this point. I just saw another article where there was a CISO position, and it came with a 6-figure signing bonus, and I think a high 6, if not 7-figure salary. So right now, IT, I thought we were kind of like getting away from the wild, wild west, but we are back, I think, to the wild, wild west. So let's see. Yeah, Jason, I don't make gold records, but that's hilarious. I love Saturday Night Live, and that's one of my the Christopher Walken with the is it the Blue Oyster Cult with more cowbell. I think that's one of my favorite. Tech reality rates always show you when a problem is really a problem at all. Can you expand on that a little bit? So I'm interested to kind of hear what you mean by that. And oh, I thought maybe we had a call coming in. Do we have a call coming in? Looks like somebody tried to call and I missed it. Whoever you are in Charlotte, North Carolina, go ahead and call again, and let's see. Um, let's see if this works. Sorry about missing that call. This is new. This whole new audio setup for people calling in. Totally new. So if you are gonna call in, go ahead and call. Somebody from Charlotte, North Carolina just tried to call. Try to call me again, please. I'm gonna have the device in my hand. It's on vibrate, so I can hear the phone ringing. Got everything turned on, I think, over here. I appreciate everybody being with me this morning while we're trying to iron this out. So I do have a new podcast coming, and that's why I'm changing some of the audio video stuff. So, Jordan, so you want to know what's happening with the big ass VPN project? We are going to do that. There were several logistical problems that I ran into that I didn't even think about, and so many people have overlapping subnets. So a lot of people are all using, 192.168 or 10.10.10. And I mean, of the hundreds of responses that I got, I'll bet 50% of the subnets overlap. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board, and I'm actually going to create a Google spreadsheet, and I'm going to assign you. And if you're going to be in the project, then you will have to use the subnet that is assigned to you, whether you set it up as a VLAN or whatever, but we are going to get back to that. Hey, Jason, I am using the Rodecaster Pro as the system where people can call in. All right, so tech reality. I am saying it's reality, right? It's got to be reality. Customer says that they have a real problem. You discuss the rates you will charge, and they start to back off to find something or someone cheaper. Then they come back to you if it's really a problem. So what I have found is there's a few of us out there on YouTube that are doing consulting. We give away our knowledge, but then we do, consulting on the other side of it. And what I have found is that people will hit about 3 of us, and you can probably think about who those 3 people are. And they'll, I had like Tom Lawrence, I was talking to him. He said that somebody got a hold of me, said that my rates were too expensive. Well, as far as hourly rate goes, I am the least expensive of the 3 YouTubers that you can probably think of. And, the reason that my rates are cheaper is I'm not running a full-time business. I'm doing this consulting after hours on the weekends, and so I don't have the overhead that the other guys have. So I can charge a lesser hourly rate. But, and then I'm sure that between the 3 of us, there are clients that hit us all. I had a church that got a hold of me. They were very upfront that they were getting bids. And when he told me I was on YouTube and I was collecting people that are bidding, I automatically know who I'm bidding against. Right. So, or I can at least, I'm probably got about a 95% confidence rate that I know who I'm bidding against if you're collecting, people from YouTube. So yeah, and I will tell you that sometimes the rates are a problem, and sometimes they're not. There are people who gladly pay because they really want their problems taken care of. The customers, I have some really loyal customers, and they buy 10 hours at a time, but and they do get a break for that. You can kind of tell when a customer is going to kind of be, kind of a pain, the way the conversation starts out. There's a lot into that. Maybe we should just do a live stream on nothing about, or on just the topic of being able to identify the types of customers and how to handle them and things like that, because I very rarely turn customers away. I have a very high satisfaction rate from my customers. And in the last 2 years, I can only think of 3 times I had to give a refund. And one of those was recently, and there was some communication barriers. There was some timing things that didn't work out. So, I gave a partial refund. I had actually completed 6 hours of work, refunded all but 2 hours of that. And I'm 100% sure that client is now hooked up with one of the other YouTubers, or has at least reached out to them. So, I mean, it is what it is. You're not going to make everybody happy all the time. I just don't think that I mean, all of us who are doing consulting, we all have different personalities. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. It's just like that. If you are in IT, if you don't work for yourself, but you work for somebody else, it's the same thing. You've got strengths and weaknesses. It's why we build teams. It's why we collaborate. That's why we put this information out there. And so not one consultant is ever going to be the best fit for every customer. It's just not going to happen. If that happened, then there'd be no wars in the world, because people would know how to get along, and there wouldn't be any greediness, and there wouldn't be all kinds of issues that divide us. So it's just, I mean, we're people, right? And we're inherently flawed. So it is what it is. I'm going to get off that, rant. Yeah, so I don't have fiber internet yet, but I did get a letter in the mail that I can get gigabit here. So it's very interesting. My ISP actually delivers my internet here. It's fiber to the outside of my house, and then they use what they call a mini node. It's made by Eris to convert it to coax inside. It's a pretty interesting system. So yeah, I love OpenVPN. It fixes so many problems that we've got with L2 TP IPsec, especially if you're using the Ubiquity products. That, let's say that you and I are going to connect to my office VPN, and we're at a restaurant. Only one of us can connect from behind an added IP. The second person can't connect. So for those customers, I've actually been having them buy DS218s, Synology DS218s. We've been setting up OpenVPN on that, and they've been VPNing in, and I've probably deployed 12 of those in the last 6 months. It's working out really great. Let's see. I have a Ubiquity Wi-Fi question. Can you call in? Jason, go ahead and call in. I will put the number up here again, and we'll see if we can get you connected. So absolutely, Jason, let's have you call in. We'll see if this thing connects. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing at the moment, so we're all learning together. By the way, how's the video look? It's the same standard 1080 camera that I use. I was thinking about getting the Logitech 4K, but the laptop that I use for consulting and pen testing and stuff like that, which I'm starting to do a lot of pen testing, but there's really more to security than just pen testing. It's a conversation we really need to have. There is much, much more to security auditing than just firing up an application on a computer and cranking out a report. If you've got somebody who that's really what they think an audit of your security is, give me a call. I'll help you out, point you in the right direction. I can at least tell you some of the things that you should be looking out for. Even if you don't engage my services, I'll tell you what I believe a security audit needs to have involved with it. Hey, Nathan, David, thanks for the shout out. I always love hearing stories, whether it's, you helped me deploy this and you helped me do this, or you gave me confidence to do this, or I went to school, or now I'm starting a business or whatever. We all know that the hardest part of anything is getting started. So, and I will tell you that if you look at the comments, and I'm not salty, I'm not mad, anything like that, but look at the YouTube comments, not only on my channel, and there are some people who just don't look at their comments because of this, but the people who will criticize you and critique you the most are the last ones that are going to put up a channel. All right, let's answer this. Hello, you are on with Willie. Can you hear me?
Hey, good morning, Willie.
Oh, hold on just a second. All right, got to switch gears here a little bit. I'm thinning. Look at that. My grandfather was on my mom's side completely bald around the middle. Okay, who am I speaking with?
This is Jason Cherry.
Jason Cherry, nice to talk to you this morning. How's this sound? Does it sound okay?
Sounds fine, sir.
Perfect. So I'm excited that the first call in with my new gear seems to be a success. So you said in the comments that you had some questions about Unify Wi-Fi. How can I help you?
So I'm working on a project where there are a lot of smaller devices that are robotic in nature, and they are talking back and forth with not only themselves to coordinate information, but also a coordination computer server type system. And I have to kind of speak in generalities. But there is an issue where I believe that we're having some problems with the base Wi-Fi packets going back and forth for really simple communications between the units and between the system and in general. And the one problem that I think that we're running into is that the broadcast messages, I believe there's some multicast messaging inside of what's going on back and forth. And the semi-unfortunate part is the fact that they all have to be on Wi-Fi because these things do move. So with that in mind, I'm trying to find out how in the Unify world I would best be able to sort of bump up the base speed, because I think that that's one of the issues that we're kind of running into, is that either the broadcast packets and/or multicast packets are happening at maybe 1 megabit per second or something, and then there's also the age-old problem of trying to push a lower signal quality if something moves out of range from one Wi-Fi access point to sort of get pushed to another, and that doesn't seem to be working quite as well as I would like it to. Would you be able to help with any of those settings?
So let me ask you this. So if I understand what you're telling me, you have a bunch of lower end, basically, I'll just call them IoT devices, just for short. So you have a bunch of
Mhm.
lower end IoT devices. Are they 802.11? Are they N? Are they G? Please tell me they're not B.
No, they're not big.
Okay.
No, they're small computing boards, like NVIDIA Jetsons and stuff like that. But we also have some custom wireless devices. Wireless radios that are on them, and many of them are operating at AC speed.
So by default, I've noticed in the new settings on Unify, they do block the broadcast traffic. I'm assuming you have that disabled.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, by disabled, what do you mean by disabled?
So on the actual SSID, if you go into the advanced properties, I can't remember what they call it, and I don't have the stream set up right now to be able to show you on the screen. But if you go into the SSID and it's down in the section where you add the VLAN, there's actually a checkbox that says block broadcast traffic. And so the AP tries to mitigate any broadcast traffic on the network. If you look at
we do not have that blocked because we do need broadcast traffic.
Okay, how many devices are we talking of, and how many access points?
It varies, but our goal is to have around 500 devices. Um, let's call them robots.
Right.
And probably, maybe as many as 20 different access points. That's probably on the high side.
Yeah.
But that's like, pie in the sky, when everything seems to work out fine. And basically we're trying to work out more of a methodology of what we can do and how it should be done.
Okay.
And because of the scale of the equipment, we were hoping to be able to unify. Well, no pun intended. We were hoping to be able to use something like Ubiquiti Unify, where we can have everything on one sheet of glass, where we can end up having metrics shown for system-wide performance, and we can end up clicking on one thing here, one thing there, and be able to access individual nodes on the network. Just to help with diagnostics of how to make the system work as it should.
So
If it means that the Unify equipment just can't do it for whatever reason, that's understandable, and we can certainly switch to something else. But for trying to keep the testing down and everything else, we also wanted to keep costs down, and Ubiquiti seemed to sort of check a bunch of boxes for us.
So I think that whatever vendor you use for this solution, I think you're going to have your main challenge, your main thing that you're going to have to overcome is the way that wireless works in general. So 500 devices, if they're all broadcasting, that is a lot of broadcast traffic. And
Yes, it is.
anytime a device on wireless, the reason, if you go back, I published a video that shows you how to do port isolation, and then also before they started checking block the broadcast by default. I did a video on that shows you how to mitigate that broadcast traffic, because broadcast traffic eats up airtime. So when that broadcast traffic is happening, legitimate or other, I shouldn't say legitimate, because in this case, multicast and broadcast is your legitimate traffic. But anytime that's broadcasting, you're taking up airtime and access point resources. So I think whatever vendor you use for this, it's going to be a challenge. There could be vendors that will handle that better. I can't speak to that, because I will tell you that I'm super interested. So I hope you'll email me so we can actually email back and forth about this. This is the first time I've ever heard of anything kind of like what you're doing. And I definitely think that it's going to take some ingenuity to make sure that it works properly. And even if I'm not involved in that, I would love to know how you solve this problem, just because of the nature of Wi-Fi and the nature of how they unify, for like take this as an example. So you've got guest Wi-Fi, and let's say that a client's only getting like 20 megabits. Well, if you've got all the broadcast stuff on and you got devices broadcasting, it chews up airtime, so the client's going to get lower speed. If you then turn the broadcast abilities off, or turn on the mechanism to contain that broadcast, then your speed may double or even higher. So I think there's a lot of unique things that you could do, and I would actually have to like set something up in the lab and test it. But I don't, and I'm just saying this generally, I don't know that there's any one vendor who's doing Wi-Fi, just because Wi-Fi works the same no matter what vendor you're using. I think you're going to have this challenge no matter who it is. So why not start off with some lower cost gear and see if you can tackle the problem? That being said, one of the things that I like about Cambium networks is they will actually, if you called Cambium and you said, look, we're going to use Cambium access points for this, they'll actually stick an RF engineer with you and help you figure this out. And that's a really nice thing about Cambium, is that they will dedicate resources to this. So that could be another route that you go, but you would have to make the investment in Cambium. Ubiquiti, I don't think they have the resources to be able to do that. And it's my understanding that when they did the FedEx forum in Memphis, they actually hired that out. Somebody else actually came in and configured that network for high density. So I would love to be a part of this conversation. So make sure you email me and stay on top of it. Sorry, I can't give you any answers besides that it's going to be complicated because of the nature of Wi-Fi.
So one of the things that I thought that might be a possibility to try is that there is basically a setting to try and, because I know that broadcasting in general will signal on the Wi-Fi network at the lowest possible speed. Is that correct?
Can you explain that? I don't know that I understand the question.
So there's like a packet rate, like a base rate setting, and I was under the impression that broadcasts are sort of automatically dumbed down to the basic broadcast rate. Like, say for instance, if you're in, an N network or whatever, and you have a basic a basic packet rate of 1 megabit per second, yet any and all broadcasts or multicast broadcasts would end up happening at that 1 megabit. So you don't get the advantage of taking advantage of that smaller airtime because of the number of devices, being able to broadcast their information within that allotted time, because the broadcast is happening at a much slower rate.
So you're talking
And
about,
there's a setting in Unify
right, the
to
DTIM
be able to
settings.
bump up that basic rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I know, I'll tell you, a few years ago, I was working with somebody who had some scales, like human scales that you step on, and they were using an 802.11b chipset. And I know that based on guidance from the engineers at Ubiquity, we did go in and we did mess with those DTIM settings. I will tell you, I mean, just being honest, that's not something that I normally tinker with. So I can't give you a good answer. One thing that you could do is go out to the Ubiquity community and post it out there, just kind of the way you phrased it, with me, and see if somebody out there has any experience. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to really give you much insight on that.
Okay. I'm guessing that it's a very similar problem to, like, for instance, here in my house, we have, like, I think it's like 14 of the Google Home little minis,
Right.
and we've run into some issues where if we end up blocking the broadcast, that a lot of the functionality for the IoT devices just simply doesn't work.
Right.
Um, Broadcasting messages, broadcasting from your phone to, the mini, that kind of stuff. And I've always sort of been wondering if, all of the different little things that we've got, to try and make life wonderful, and using the network for, if all of the broadcasting that is sort of required for these different protocols to make everything fun and wonderful, if that's one of the reasons why, like, for instance, I've got symmetrical gig fiber here at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that on Wi-Fi, and I have the nanos. I've got 2 nanos in the house. I've got one in the basement and one on the second floor, to cover my whole house. And I noticed that, I can only get at most 500 megabit on my 2x2 cell phone, as far as my internet connection goes,
Right.
going through the system. And I, am just kind of wondering if we were to sort of block a lot of that other, information happening, if there was any snowball's chance in hell of being able to get, closer up to my signaling rate, which 500 megabit on a 2x2 device, I would say is still pretty good.
I would say it's excellent. It takes, if it, when you start looking at how many antennas, a device has, a 1x1, obviously takes more resources for the access point to get it the same amount of information, that it does your 2x2, and even versus like a 3x3. I hear that a lot. I will tell you that one thing that I ran into, I deployed Wi-Fi at a mall, at an outdoor mall, and they said, we want to have the fastest public free Wi-Fi in town, hands down. I said, okay, we'll try to do this. And so one thing that we had to do, first of all, every store in the mall had its own Wi-Fi, right? So when we opened up an analyzer from where our access points were, I mean, the 2.4 was completely trashed. So the first thing that we did was we disabled 2.4 gigahertz so that everything had to connect on 5 gigahertz, which we were automatically then getting, when we were running speed tests, anywhere between 80 and 100 megabits, with multiple clients. So the whole, I went the long way to tell you that there's a lot of different things that you can try. Unfortunately, with lower end devices, now I don't know anything about, so we don't allow smart assistants in the house. Like, they're even turned off on our cell phones, even though the cell phone's still listening, I'm sure. But a lot of lower end devices are going to be 2.4 gigahertz only, which is also then going to cap, how much data or the speed that you can connect to. Now, 500 megabits, that obviously sounds like it's connecting at AC for sure. So yeah, you're going to have to experiment, and experimenting at home may not be a bad place. I don't know that you're going to get much more than 500, especially connecting to a nano, even if you do limit the broadcast traffic. But it'd be a great experiment, and I'd love to know how it turns out.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate the help.
Hey, thanks for calling in, and make sure you send me an email because I'd love to know how this turns out. And if I somehow, I'm hanging a clock above the toilet and slip and hit my head and come up with some sort of a design, that could help you out, I'd love to do that.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, man.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so that was our first call in. And did the call in sound okay? Give me a thumbs up if that call in sounded okay. Hey, Unky Joe is in the house. Unky Joe put out a video, and Joe, I am going to apologize in public for not getting my piece of that video out, but you did an awesome job of explaining it. Joe was having some problems with an ISP. They kept blaming him. He reached out. His router configuration was impeccable. So it ended up being, some ISP issues. So you can, you can check that out. I'm hoping to do, some collaborations. I do have some things on deck. I will tell you that one thing that I'm changing is I used to host my own Unify. I used to host Unify for clients. I am winding that down. And there is a cloud-based service for Unify hosting that I'm going to do a video on. And I am also going to try to, work out an affiliate link with that. So, yeah, Unky Joe says we switched to AT&T. Thanks for your help. All right, David says, can we discuss EA stuff here? So I am not allowed to publicly talk about EA stuff. If you talk about it in the comments, I can't stop you from doing that, but I'm not gonna. I can't put airtime and resources towards EA stuff. I could get in trouble for that. So let's look through the comments a little bit here. All right, let's see. See you guys talking about some USG stuff. Hey, Germany in the house. I'm glad that everybody's here. Now, let me ask you this. Lars question. Let's see. Let me see if I can find Lars's question. By the way, if I scheduled these live streams and put a comment in the comment, if I scheduled it, would it be easier for everybody to get to? I think the answer is yes. And I think based off of things that I'm reading, if I schedule it, we'll get more people in here. So just let me know about that. I'm looking for Lars' question. Lars. What firewall do you like? The USG is not a real firewall. All right, so let's talk about that. The USG has a firewall, and the USG has the same firewall rules by default that the wizard from the edge router is going to give you. And the USG is a firewall. So where we're at in modern times with networking is what we've done is we've stuffed all of these different functions into one box. So, we've taken this little piece of hardware and we expect this thing to do so much. By the way, this is the Edge Router X SFP. It's a wonderful, wonderful device. But we expect these devices to do everything. We expect them to route packets. We expect them to NAT. We expect them to firewall. We expect them to rub our feet. Maybe not that last part. Maybe that's just a dream I had. But what I'm saying is we expect these devices to do so much. If you go to a larger enterprise and start looking at the way that it doesn't even really have to be a large enterprise because of the cost of things and the way the cost has come down, smaller, even home networks. I have a few clients who they run a setup and they did it very inexpensively, using servers purchased off of eBay, firewalls bought off of eBay, or, found a special here, special there. But they don't have a UTM. They don't have everything in one package. They've split it up. So they've got a router on the outside. They've got a firewall. Then they're doing their NAT here, things like that. There's 100 different ways to skin this cat. And depending on your environment, that's what's going to be right. So to say that the USG is not a firewall is unfair to the USG. The USG is a firewall. However, if you have a simple office, flat subnet, maybe a couple of VLANs, voice, video, things like that, the USG will work. It'll work okay. If you have more than one public IP address that you need to do DNAT, SNAT, all that good stuff, then you're looking at an edge router. I am falling in love quickly with the Draytech. I do have a Palo Alto over there. I like MikroTik, and MikroTik, they've been taking a beating, in public, some of these security things, but that just shows you how many of those devices are out there. There's a reason those devices are out there. And I know entire WISPs, ISPs that are completely MikroTik. So to say that the USG is not a firewall, that's not fair. I do love Linux-based firewalls. The Synology, I'll tell you what, here's the thing about Synology. If Synology would do inter-VLAN routing, they could dominate the market. My other one that you're going to see a video on is we're bringing we are going to bring back. Well, let me go back to Synology. I'm all over the place right now. So Synology could dominate the home market right now. Their marketing is just not there. They have hands down the best parental controls. And guess what? It works if you've got multiple VLANs, right? Because we make it our gateway of last resort. We've got another device in the network doing our VLANs. We can still do absolutely all of that. I have it right now in line in my network. My kids hate it. I love it. My wife loves it. There's no way, you have a base policy set up. You can't get around the base policy because the base policy affects every single bit of traffic that flows through that Synology, right? So, but what I meant to say, and I emailed my handler and I told him this. I'm like, look, if Synology, we get a 1U Intel based server and use it for a firewall and do inter-VLAN routing, they would clean up in the SMB market with the way their IDS, IPS works, with the way their content filtering works, with the way their geo filtering works. I mean, oh my God, the software is beautiful. They're in. I don't know much about what's going on behind the scenes with that company. I keep buying their gear. Everybody keeps buying their gear and it's good stuff. They could dominate, like I said, home market now, but if they made a few tweaks, they could dominate the SMB market. They might even be able to dominate the enterprise market. So, but Grandstream, you're going to see Grandstream videos on the Grandstream GWN 7000. There's some new firmware on that. And it does a lot of awesome things that we like with voice over IP. So you're going to see that. That's like, I've got like a top 5 and that's in my top 5 for sure. So somebody asked, what do you recommend for an access point layout, 2,500 square foot house? Do you need 2? So right now in our house, 2,700 square feet, I have an Amplify system set up, the HD, and it is covering everything and it covers outside. So, and it even deals with the interference from the office that I have here. Over here to my right, you can't see it, but I have a mesh unit linked to an early access product that I'm not going to talk about in another room so that I can do testing from here at the desk. And while I'm doing that, everybody else is streaming, they're doing whatever on their 2-hour time limit. And it works out great. So yeah, I do think I'm going to start. I think I am going to start scheduling the live stream. More and more people have come in. There's 53 of you now. We've been almost at an hour. The Sonic Wall, I don't think Sonic Wall is owned by Dell anymore. Is it? Maybe it is. Sonic Wall is okay. If I'm going to pay for an enterprise subscription, I'm going to go Palo Alto. There's a reason they're king of the heap. I mean, their stuff is awesome at the enterprise level. So, good morning. Your videos are great. Oh, yep. Thank you, Cordell. Hi from the UK. Hey, UK checking in. So if you look up my last name, Howe, Howe, you will actually see where my great grandfather came from England to the United States, was a coal miner, stuff like that. So I do have a little bit of connection to the UK area. Not sure if you've done a follow-up video to Active Directory. Simon, if there's a follow-up video, so I know a lot of us get caught in this, hey, I'm going to do a video on this. Shoot me an email if there's something you need to see. That way I can get the list compiled. And what I'll do is I'll do a video saying, hey, here's what everybody wants to see. Vote. And then I'm going to let everybody choose some of those videos. Now, there are some GrandStream videos that are going to be coming out. I'm going to spend a few weeks on GrandStream. But I've been trying to get my audio video stuff, get my office the way that I want it, because I really want, I'm trying to kick up that a little. I think I've been in the game long enough now that the production, needs to come up. I'm still learning stuff though. My production is never going to be perfect at this point. It's not what I do full time. So I'm learning little things here and there. And I still want to get back to my Access videos too. Let's see. I currently have a Windows 2000 PC running a domain. Windows 2000 is no longer supported. You need to upgrade that thing. Synology is going to use the same SMB port and things like that. And I've never joined a Synology to a 2000 domain and then seized the roles, the FSMO roles. So I'm not 100% sure. Is 2000? Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I deployed 2000. Thinking back to 2003, I don't know, man. That's something we'd have to test. At 2000, though, I mean, when we're talking about taking 2008 servers out of production, 2000, man, I don't even know. I don't even think I still have a disk. I don't even have an ISO. I'd have to look. I don't know. I'd have to look. It'd be fun, right? If I didn't have anything else to do to fire that up and try it, but off the top of my head. All right, Chad says, I need to upgrade my home Wi-Fi once Apple stops supporting their airport equipment, so I have some time. Any idea what the time frame is before Ubiquiti starts releasing 802.11ax access points? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know, and I don't know. I think it's going to be several years before you see adoption of AX at a consumer level on a large scale. Asus, I think, already has one out. So check out Asus. This thing's got like 50 antennas sticking off the top of it. It's beautiful. Yeah, PF Sense is good, Unky Joe. I do love PF Sense. Untangle is good. Untangle is good for sure. I'm not a Meraki fan at all, David G. The subscription model, anything that's a subscription model like that, I understand people have to make money, but there's other ways to do it too. Let's see. Is there any way to employ QoS on the Unify Wi-Fi segment? So if you're doing voice over IP, Unify is not my go-to for voice over IP deployments. I am going to deploy GrandStream access points with a Linksys or Netgear switch, probably, and then the GWN 7000. So Unify QoS not good, not where it needs to be, That's all I'm going to say is Unify QoS pretty much non-existent. Smart Qs is a form of QoS, but it's not what we need. Yeah, anything where I don't pay the subscription and the box stops working, I'm moving away from those. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, you're a hypocrite because you pay for Synology. Yeah, I pay for Synology, but that license is good for the life of the box. So if I get a higher end rack station that's got Intel Xeon processors and a lot of memory, and that thing's going to last 10 years, those licenses last 10 years. And now they've got a new piece of software, the Migration Assistant, which I've been tinkering around with. I don't know if that migrates licenses or not. Be awful interesting. But the thing about Synology is I don't mind paying for it because it works. All right, folks, we have been streaming about an hour and about 48 minutes, 44 seconds. And I do have to get going. I'm glad that everybody could join me this morning. So please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please comment and share. For all those IT consulting needs, make sure you go to www.williehowe.com. Fill out that contact form. If we can't help you, we'll get you in touch with somebody who can. I promise you that. We have helped clients find other people all the time. So that is it for this morning. Thank you again. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.